Ebola is one of the world's most deadly diseases that has killed almost 4,000 people in the biggest ever outbreak that started in West Africa earlier this year. The World Health Organization has declared an international health emergency as governments around the world struggle to contain the virus, mostly in Liberia, Guinea and Sierra Leone. Healthcare workers in West Africa are at risk if they treat patients, and those infected have been sent back to their home countries for treatment, taking the virus global. And as a Spanish nurse has become the first person to contract Ebola in Europe, the race is on to prevent the disease becoming a pandemic. The virus is highly contagious and spread through close physical contact with infected people. It's transmitted through body fluids such as blood, saliva, semen or body discharges, and even dead bodies are still contagious. It works by making victims bleed from almost anywhere on the body, and the early symptoms include fever, headaches, weakness, muscle pain and a sore throat. But this later develops into vomiting, diarrhea, failing liver and kidney functions, and bleeding. Animals can also carry the virus, usually fruit bats and monkeys, but it's important to note that Ebola is not airborne. About 60 to 90% of people who catch Ebola will die, and there is no known vaccine or cure, but some victims can be treated and survive. British nurse William Pooley, who caught the virus while out in Sierra Leone, was treated back in the UK with experimental drug ZMapp and made a full recovery. However, Norway's first Ebola patient is to receive the world's last available dose of the drug, and ZMapp manufacturers say it will take months to make more. But it's impossible to tell whether this rare drug helps cure Ebola or recovery is down to other factors, as 2 Spanish missionaries treated with it died. There are also a number of steps you can take to avoid Ebola, such as regularly washing your hands with soap and clean water, as well as using clean towels. Don't touch anyone you suspect is infected, avoid dead bodies, and don't eat any bushmeat. Since 1976, there have been just over 20 known Ebola outbreaks, so despite the disease's 40-year history, 2014's outbreak is the most extreme than any other incidents put together. This one has spread to more than 50 distinct areas in 6 different countries, and the true figures of those infected is largely unknown. The US Health Agency warns that the outbreak could reach 1.4 million by January, and the World Health Organization has already warned that the number of people infected could reach 20,000 by the beginning of next month. While the disease is highly contagious, with a fatality rate of up to 90% and no vaccination, the chances of an Ebola outbreak in Europe and North America are fairly slim. Governments around the world are stepping up their efforts to control the virus. Britain is to send more than 750 personnel to Sierra Leone next week, and the United States Air Force has deployed members of its Air National Guard to West Africa. The US has also begun airport screenings for passengers arriving from 3 West African countries. Ebola could cost the global economy over $32 billion by the end of 2015 if the viral infection spreads to countries that neighbour those already affected by the outbreak. The UN's financial arm, which gives loans to poorer countries, estimates that it will only cost $9 billion if the virus is contained within the 3 most heavily impacted countries, but it will be billions more if it spreads to other nations.